Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. I am your host, Viz, and today we are joined by Adam Berry and Chip Coffey from the show Kindred Spirits, which is starting a brand new season, Season 7, tomorrow, January 20th on Discovery Plus and the Travel Channel. Amy Bruni was supposed to be with us today, but due to a last-minute personal reason, she's not able to join. So we miss Amy, and we'll definitely be talking about Amy and her experiences through Adam and Chip as well. So, welcome, guys, to the show. Congratulations on a brand new season. Adam, 7 seasons. How does it
Yeah.
feel for the show to have become such a success and going into its 7th season now?
You know, uh, I think we're very lucky. We're very lucky. I mean, we never know we'd get past the first season. So for our fans and those that enjoy Kindred Spirits to watch as long as they have and to support us in what we're doing, I think we are very lucky. And we're going to keep doing it until, you'll see us in wheelchairs one day, being very old, rolling each other around in the asylum.
Now, Chip, it was great to see you back on the road again with Amy and Adam in the premiere episode of this brand new season. Uh, Last season, you did your readings remotely. Can you tell us what is like the biggest difference actually being there in person as opposed to helping Adam and Amy out remotely?
That's a good question. I've been doing readings for clients by phone for 21 plus years as a professional psychic and medium. So I've had to tap into energy of people remotely for a long time. So when the pandemic hit, and because of my age and some medical things, I was required to stay at home more than some other folks. I was very fortunate to be given the opportunity to still be a part of the cast from a remote location.
Uh-huh.
It's a little more difficult, honestly, to try to do that. And of course, I want to be on location with those two beautiful people that are my castmates on the show. But we did the best that we could, and I think the results turned out fine. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of interesting to look at that. That's just another way to look at things. I think also is, can a psychic or a medium pick up on energies from a distance of sometimes several hundred or 1,000 miles away?
Now,
So we did the best that we could, but this season you're going to see me on location with them several times, and that's always a wonderful thing. We have such a good relationship. I love Amy and Adam with all my heart, and anytime that we can be together is great. Cast and crew, yes, absolutely, Adam Berry. And it's different, but hopefully the end result is the same. The difference for me personally is I greatly miss my
yeah.
fellow cast members and the crew.
Does it help? You said you've been doing remote readings for 20 years now. Does it help your personal connection with Amy and Adam in those readings that you're doing remotely?
We have such a special relationship, the three of us. We've known each other for a very long time, and I hope Adam will agree with this. It's almost like we can tell what the other one's thinking with
Hmm.
just by a look on the face or whatever. We're kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna add. I was gonna add, like when Chip started remote viewing, he was like, what I'm gonna try to do is tune into your energy. I'm
Hmm.
gonna try to
yes,
tune into your energy because I know the two of you so well. We have this connection, and so I think he does that on top of remote reading, which he does all the time. I mean, he does those all the time anyway, and so he's really good. I prefer him in person with us, so we can see him, and also our energy, the three of us, our energy in that environment sort of brings about activity that we can't quite explain, and you
Yeah.
definitely see that on the season premiere.
Yes, you do.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, Adam, you guys spend several nights at a location trying to piece together a mystery. You guys are detectives in a way.
Mm.
How do you try to stay objective and not let your preconceived thoughts going into a particular location sort of muddy your thinking to try to get to the actual truth?
So, good question. The easiest answer is we sort of put everything to the side. You have to. You have to come in with a blank slate. You have to come in with no preconceived notions. Even though we do know where we're going, especially Amy and I. Chip never knows where he's
Yeah,
going, so thank God he trusts us. But when we show up, we have an idea of the activity. We have an idea of what people are going through. But we have to set those aside because those are their experiences. And our goal is to go in, blank slate, see what we can experience. Does it match up with what they're experiencing? And, get to, like, we start dissecting it from there, from a base level.
absolutely. And Chip, I've told this to Amy and Adam when I interviewed them back in 21. I think what separates Kindred Spirits from other similar shows is they go in not automatically expecting the dark demonic to be there. That's a very rare anyway to begin with. It's always somebody or something just causing a little bit of trouble. What you must see, Chip, as in your mind's eye when you're either there physically or doing this remotely must be terrifying at times. Have there been instances where you've picked up on stuff where you legitimately felt concerned for the safety of Amy and Adam?
Yes, I've warned them a number of times, just be careful, be on
Mhm.
guard, take care of yourselves because, it may not be some rampaging evil or demonic and energy or entity that's after them, so to speak. It could just be a really hacked off spirit
Yeah.
that's, not in a good
Mhm.
mood and took that bad mood with them over into the afterlife. There's one instance in this particular season where what I saw in my head of an incident that happened in the basement of one of the places that we
Mhm.
went to was so horrifying that I had to make a hasty retreat. It was
Wow.
just so emotionally overwhelming what I had realized had happened in that space.
Mhm.
And I always try to let Amy and Adam know that they need to proceed with caution. But you know what? I've got to give them credit. They're pretty good at sussing that out on their own because we talked about this in another interview. The two of them have got their own unique psychic sense about themselves. So it doesn't always take Uncle Chip to tell them, beware, beware. They generally are pretty good about picking up that information on their own.
Now, picking up on that point, Adam, you and Amy and Chip have been together for so long, working together, friends.
Mhm.
Um, do you guys know what is a trigger for the other? And when I mean trigger, I mean, and this is going to lead to a question I'm going to ask later on. A trigger point that a spirit, an energy, whatever, might hit on that might push you into the wrong direction. Do you and Amy know each other so well that you can pick up on those cues and sort of pull the other person back and
I
sort of
mean,
refocus them?
yeah, yes. I mean, the three of us have worked together for so long, and Amy and I have worked together, for over 10 years. And so we know what we like, we know what we don't like, we know each other's quirks. In this season premiere, getting Chip down into the basement where an actual dungeon exists, that's a trigger. That's a trigger for Mr. Coffey because he's like, I don't want to go down there.
Yeah.
I don't like this. But he knows he has to go, or like a disembodied voice reaching out to Amy. He doesn't like that. There are things that I don't like that they are very aware of, and I think it works for us. Like it's a protective thing for each other. We know what our limits are, but we always continue to push those limits
Hmm.
because we have to push the limits in order to get to the solution. And sometimes we have to do things that we're not comfortable with, but we're all there with each other, supporting each other, so it helps.
You guys
We are
get,
very protective of each other.
Yeah.
yeah,
Very much so.
and that comes through. We can definitely see that on the screen. Adam, there was a particular instance, I believe it was last season, where, I mean, you and Amy and Chip go into a location, full respect. You guys address whatever is there as non-living. You go to great
Hmm.
lengths not to say the word dead, passed
Hmm.
on. You call them non-living. But there
Hmm.
was a jackass, for lack of a better term, spirit that was messing with you. I believe it was last season, and you stood up to them and you said, "Yeah, you went from nice, respectful Adam, and if you're not going to treat me with that same respect, then I'm not going to treat you with the same respect." And is that important for you to take that stand, for to not let these energy spirits sort of roll all over you?
Yeah, I mean, just like in real life, you're never going to let somebody treat you like crap, and so why
Mm-hmm.
would you let them do it when they're dead? Chip Coffey will tell you we can cut a bitch, and it might it sometimes we have to bring out those kind of things, but again, it comes from a place of respect, like mutual. We have a mutual understanding that I'm going to talk to you, you're going to give me these answers, but if there's no respect coming back to me, then I'm going to equally give you what you're giving me,
Yeah,
especially if they need to be put in their place. And it's as if it's, again, humanizing the spirit. It's talking to them as if they're sitting in front of you, and you wouldn't let anyone else treat you like that. So why would
Right.
you allow
exactly.
that for
We're
in the
not going to be
afterlife?
bullied. Nobody's, I mean, from the living or the dead, I don't think any one of the three of us is going to be bullied by anybody, whether
Absolutely.
Right.
they're alive or not alive. So, that's Adam has a very good point there. You just sometimes, if you're getting a spirit that's going to be a jerk,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to just let them know that that is really
Mm-hmm.
unacceptable. And if you don't knock it off, we're going to have a problem here.
Exactly. And
Yep.
that's exactly what Adam did. I was very happy to see you
I
do
remember
that.
what you're talking about, and
Yeah.
you described it really well. Adam in his inimitable style went from, okay, if you're going to be this way, I'm going to show you how I can be.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
Mm-hmm.
let's rumble.
Amy, on another camera said that she knew that was like your like trigger point. That was good. That was going to really
Yeah.
piss you off.
I mean, look, I grew up not taking anything from anybody, and I'm not going to take it from a non-living entity either.
If you knew his mom, that would explain a lot. His mom is if you knew his mom, you would know that he was raised not to take any crap off anybody.
Yep, that's
Exactly.
true.
She did a great job of that.
Now let's focus on this premiere episode, uh,
Mm.
particularly about that knocking that you
Mhm.
guys did not experience, but you saw the video that the people there showed you. Wow, talk about loud, and it had a rhythm to it. I mean, this thing was a. They were banging out a song on the second floor. Now,
Yeah.
when you're presented with that kind of evidence that you were not there for personally, do you
Hmm.
approach it with a, a bit of skepticism to see
Uh,
exactly what the hell that was?
yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, this like ghost drum solos happening at the top of the stairs. I think, when we first saw it, you see it on the episode, but Amy and I are watching this, and I trust the person giving me the video. He swears nobody was there. I believe him.
Hmm.
But seeing something like that is really shocking. And my face, most of the time during this moment, is like hard to believe. Like I'm trying to process it, right? I'm trying to think about what it is, what's making that sound. And Amy is like, this is the craziest thing. I mean, and it really is. And I think, we have to take it with a grain of salt. We trust the person giving us the evidence. He's not doing. It's obviously something he doesn't understand. We try to recreate it, but it's bizarre. I love when people that we're helping show us something that happened to them that shocks us.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they'll show us, somebody will show us something. I'm like, that's dust, or that's an orb, or that's light refraction, or something. But when they show us something we can't explain, then we know we're in for a treat.
Yeah.
We're in for a ghost treat, and it's definitely on this episode.
Yeah. That knocking drum song, that was
Yeah.
and somebody who's been watching these kind of shows for like 2 decades now, that was wow.
Mhm.
Now, Chip, when you went down into that cellar and you saw that dungeon, you saw the restraints, and your impulse was, "Oh my God, what happened down here?" Your initial reaction, was it fear? Was it somebody did something horrible down here that they don't want revealed in life and they don't want revealed in their death either? What was exactly going through your mind?
It made me sick to my stomach to think that human beings have been treated so horribly.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that these people went through were pretty horrific. And as someone who is a sensitive and taps into things intuitively, I can feel the emotions often of the people that were there.
Yeah.
And whether it's interactive with them still being there, or it's just the residual or the echo of what went on there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough.
It was intense, and we could tell that as well. Now, in the second episode, Adam, you guys go to Palmyra, New York. Palmyra is this really, just a small town in upstate New York, but it comes up a lot in paranormal discussions. A lot of stuff seems to happen there. You guys are brought in. You focus on a particular museum, but actually, as Amy says in the beginning of the episode, it's a whole district of museums that are experiencing activity. That sounds really daunting. How do you approach a case that is spread out over quite a bit of area and try to piece together what's going on?
Yeah, so it's not easy. I mean, we had the entire block. We had multiple buildings. Palmyra, New York. Where Joseph Smith found the plates for the Mormon Book of Mormon. So, but we have no Mormon. There are no Mormon ghosts we're talking about. So, we're near where the Fox Sisters property is, and I think when we tackle something that big, we let the case lead us, right? Like we start in some place, like we do always, in one location, and then we are led to the next location, and it just or the next part where we're going to investigate next, based on what activity we're having. So I think in that episode specifically, Amy and I trotted down a couple of buildings to talk to Sybil, who was a spiritualist. She was a big in the spiritualist movement, and we used her seance table and her crystal ball and her materials, and we basically conjured Sybil to the table to be like, tell us what's happening down the street. And we've seen this before. We've seen this in Gettysburg, where ghosts sort of communicate with each other in their own little, I don't know, haunted town, if it were. And Sybil shared information with us, and I don't want to give away too much of it. But we use the resources, and if those resources include asking other ghosts for advice, then we're going to use it to our advantage.
Now, Chip, as every other psychic medium, you want to go in with a clean slate. You don't want any information. Why is that so important for mediums? Is it you don't want anything subconsciously creeping into your mind and influencing what you're picking up on?
I'm going to give you an honest answer that I've never given publicly before. So awesome. Here we go. Entre nous. For you and all your listeners, and for even Mr. Adam Berry.
All right.
It doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
I could know about the location or not know about the location, because I'm going to go in with my own professionalism and ethics and not do any exploration of where I am. They keep me in the dark all the time and not knowing about a place. But even if I knew about the place, I'm going to be authentic and go in and not research it.
Yeah.
That being said, for television purposes and for the purpose of the audience believability and not having to suspend their disbelief, we do it that way for a reason. They want me to be kind of blindfolded. But quite honestly, even if I knew where I was going, I'm going to tell you what I'm picking up from that place at that exact moment, in that time and in that space. You've heard me say before, I'm not feeling anything in this space now. And it might have been very active at other times, but if it's not active while I'm there, I'm not going to BS the audience or Amy or Adam and tell them I'm picking up something.
Okay.
Yeah. And to just to add to that, I mean, from our standpoint, there are places that we've gone, and Chip knows what it is when he arrives immediately, like Lizzie Borden house. It's hard to hide an asylum, right? It's hard to hide it when he gets there. So, for us as investigators, we love Chip to be sort of blind in the sense that he doesn't know where he's going because it helps us better understand the reading that he's giving us. And I know either way, it doesn't matter. But for us, it's sort of it honestly makes it more impressive, in my opinion, to me. And I think that's what from an investigation standpoint, I think that's very important for us. So we take the necessary precautions, even though I know he already. I mean, we even ask him on Kindred. It's like, what are you picking up already? Like he's already picking up things before he even gets there. So,
and I guess what I was saying is that even if I knew where I was going, I wouldn't cheat.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
I'm not going to cheat, and I think it just works better. It plays better for the audience if I'm really kept secluded and unaware of what's going on. And Adam and Amy will tell you, and anybody on the production team or the network who's been there will tell you, they go above and beyond to keep me uninformed about what's going on and where I'm going.
Because they want the reactions to be authentic. Now, in the second episode, we're not going to give much away, but it did involve a fire that, Chip, you picked up on. And I love watching Amy and Adam's reactions when you nail something right on the head. And their reaction, as soon as you said the word fire, they were like, oh my God, how did he sense that? But it's a tragic story with the fire, and people should definitely watch the episode and hear the story behind that. So, Adam, when it comes to something really tragic that happened to a family, how do you let that not affect you and stay objective?
You have to put it again, you have to kind of put it aside. It's hard. It's hard because if you go in, obviously we find out about the disaster. We know about the disaster that happened there, the fire that killed the mother and her children. But we can't assume that that's who's there. So we keep it in mind. We ask questions about it. There was a lot of mystery surrounding the fire and how it began. And, we just kind of have to trudge through it. And yes, it comes up. Yes, it affects us. But, like any person who deals or works in trauma and death, you have to find a way to cope with it because you're there to do a job. You're there to have a purpose. Yeah,
absolutely. Guys, we're out of time. The show, again, is called Kindred Spirits, premiering tomorrow, January 20th, on the Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. If you've watched previous seasons, I mean, what can I tell you that you don't already know? It's a great show. Check it out. They just gave me the first 2 episodes, so I'm really anxious to see the rest of the season. You guys are phenomenal, as always. Chip, I've got to tell you, when I told my wife last week that I'm going to be talking to the Kindred Spirits team, she's like, is Chip going to be there? I'm like, yeah. She got so excited.
Well, give her my love. Give her love from all of us. We're really grateful when people appreciate us and our work.
My wife loves watching you and your readings and just the aura you bring to the screen and the energy you bring. So
thank you.
Same for Adam, same for Amy. Thank you, guys. Thank you to our audience. We have a nice size audience for a Thursday afternoon. Check out the show, premiering tomorrow. Adam Barry, Chip Coffey, and myself. Stay safe and stay walking. Goodbye, everybody.